Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of Driving Academy, and today we're going to be talking about how to build the best trucking company possible. So when it comes to trucking companies, it comes in all shapes, all sizes, but most trucking companies start off with one driver and one tractor, right? And this is exactly where we're going to show you how to start. But this is not where you're going to finish. And we're going to give you some tips along the way on how to make sure that you do not fall into the traps that can be the difference between you making millions of dollars and you closing your business and saying, trucking is not for me, trucking is a scam. Just like I'm sure you've heard some people say this past year, where they say, oh no, trucking, I mean, you can't make any money in trucking, right? I beg to differ. So we've had countless of students who've gone through our program already, and we actually help them out getting a CDL license. We're the best school in the country for that. But on top of that, we actually help them get a job at the end of the day too. Some of the students who actually get a job come on back and say, hey, can you help me actually start my own company? We actually do that. Some students right out of school, they say, no, I want to just work for myself. We say, no problem, we can help you out. So we're going to give you the same tips and tricks that we give our paying students who pay us thousands of dollars for this information, and you're going to get this for free. So you definitely want to make sure you wait all the way to the end, because that's where the main secret is done. All right, so the first thing that you have to understand is going to be in startup costs, right? So every business has two main things. You're going to have revenue, which is money coming in, and then you're going to have expenses, which is money going out, right? And when you're starting a business, startup costs is super important to make sure that you're not spending all of your capital just on startup. So for instance, if you had $100,000, it would be very stupid for you to just buy a $100,000 truck, because now all of a sudden now you're buying a brand new truck and you have no more money left over. So you definitely want to make sure that you're always pinching pennies when you're starting a business, and you want to make sure that you are buying the equipment that needs to be run correctly. So one thing that a lot of people got in trouble with in this past couple of years is the trucking market exploded, which means a lot of people were getting into the trucking industry, and the prices for trucks started to rise dramatically. And what wound up happening was, it's just like housing or any other bubble, people started buying higher and higher and higher. I mean, the same trucks we used to purchase for like $15,000 were then being sold for like $30,000, $35,000, $40,000. I mean, and the trucks, all they're doing is getting older. If they're getting older, if anything, the price should be dropping, right? But no, the price was going up because of the whole supply and demand issue that was happening. So the main thing that you have to understand is keeping your costs down. So making sure that you're buying a truck, the first truck should be anywhere from like that $40,000 to $60,000 range itself. You can buy a nice used truck for that. Making sure that you're buying something that has 500,000 miles or less. The lower the miles, the least it is. Now you might be saying 500,000 miles, that's insane, right? Well, if you were to kind of do a comparison with cars, a car can go pretty easily with no issues for about 100,000 miles. 100,000 miles on a car is similar to about 1,000,000 miles on a truck. So if you're buying a truck with like 500,000 miles on it, you're really buying a car with like 50,000 miles on it. So that kind of gives you the comparison. 300,000 miles means like a 30,000 mile car. So that kind of helps you out with that. So that's your price range. You want to find a truck that's reliable, that has some history behind it, and you want to buy used, you don't want to buy brand new. And $40,000 to $60,000 is really the good sweet spot where you don't buy junk when you're going lower than that. And anything higher than that, you're pretty much either overpaying for the vehicle or you're going a little bit too new on the vehicle, and there's really no sense of doing it. Now, some people might say, well, I want a new truck so it's not going to break down. I don't have to worry about the maintenance. I'm sorry to tell you, trucks do what they do, and that's go forward, back up, and break down occasionally. No matter what you do, trucks are going to break down. But we have secret number 2 for that. So secret number 2 when it comes to building a company is then going to be making sure we're, again, playing defense on the expense side. We made sure that the expenses are under control. And now, one thing that most people don't do is actually pull money to the side for things like maintenance. What people think is, oh, by the time a tire blows up or something like that happens, I'll just have the money and I'll just pay for it then. No. One thing that we tell our students to do, and they pay us thousands of dollars for this advice and a lot more, we tell them, okay, every mile that you drive, you want to create a maintenance bank account, which means at the end of the week or at the end of the month, however you want to do it, you're going to calculate however many miles you drove and move 17 cents per mile into this separate maintenance account. Now, this is an account you do not touch. You imagine that you're spending that money and you don't want to touch it. Now, when something bad does happen, now you have enough money, enough cushion inside there that it actually can pay for any type of maintenance, and you don't have to go crazy going for loans or anything like that. Because another thing that actually destroys trucking companies is that you actually get into the route where now you're making money, you're dealing with brokers, things are moving okay, the income's coming in, and all of a sudden you're running things on super thin margins because you have no idea how to negotiate or anything like that. And then all of a sudden a big maintenance issue happens, and now you have to go into debt. You have to take out your credit cards. You got to go in to get these huge interest loans, and then all of a sudden now you're just working for free. So if you just take this advice, 17 cents per mile that you drive, put into a separate account, if you do that consistently, by the time something does happen, you'll have more than enough money. You don't have to do any loans, and you can keep being profitable, right? So that's going to be tip number 2. Tip number 3 out of this 4-tip rule is going to be, how do you negotiate with brokers? So when you're just starting off as a one-man show, it's all about making sure that you communicate correctly. Some people want to actually just outsource the whole finding work side, but remember, that is what actually pays you. So your skill set, the ability to actually research the loads that you want to transport, see exactly how long the trip is going to be, how much per mile are they willing to pay you, and how do you negotiate to get higher. Those are all great skill sets to actually learn, because the one thing that you do have to understand is all price in this world is completely made up. So whatever the price the broker tells you, it's completely made up in their head. So if you get to the point where you can actually convince somebody to come up with your reality, which is your made up price, and that's going to fit your business model, then you can actually be successful on the income side. Because a lot of people just focus on the expense and just let the income kind of come from someplace else, because there's more than enough work out there, which is one of the benefits of having a trucking company. But if you get good at really capturing, okay, I know this route is consistent. I'm going to make sure I build a good relationship with this broker or with this shipper, and I'm going to make sure that I am there every single time, going above and beyond. Then it's a residual business, and you can keep growing. Because now you're going to be in the next phase, which is now adding people and adding trucks to it. So by the time you get to this phase, most of the time banks are willing to throw you money to purchase more trucks, and you're able to get all the financing that you want. But the hard part is going to be, how do you find the right drivers? Because you started off and it's your truck, you're the one on the line, you are treating that truck like an owner. But when you start bringing on your first 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers, you're going to start seeing that they don't care about the truck as much as you do, because they're just an employee and they have that mindset. So the next big hurdle that people actually go through when it comes to starting and scaling a trucking company is, how do I find good qualified drivers? And that is where our secret sauce comes in. And I hope you watch all the way to the end, because this is going to be the most valuable part here. So if you're not aware, finding drivers is super hard. There's about an 80,000 driver shortage right now in this country alone, which means you're competing with the biggest companies out there looking for drivers. Now, what should you do? We actually created a whole separate department here at Driving Academy that can actually help you turn your business into an actual trucking school. So you have the choice. You can actually continue to grow your trucking company and kind of keep fighting for drivers and open up the truck driving school on the side, and we help you out with that. So then you have a never-ending flow of good drivers, because you're the one creating them, right? You keep the top percentage of drivers for yourself, but you get paid on everybody. So now your expense and your problem becomes one of your biggest profit centers. Or what you're going to find out, that I have found out many years ago, it's so much more fun, more profitable, and so much more relaxing and enjoyable owning a trucking school versus owning a trucking company. Now just think about it, compare side by side, apple to apple. Now if your passion is trucking company, do it. I don't want you to not do that part. But if you think about it, I have all the trucks, I have all the employees that I need to open up a trucking company tomorrow. I have all the connections, but there's a reason I don't. One, there's so much more liability in the trucking company itself, because as you start to scale out to more people, what you're doing is, here's the keys to my truck. Please don't F up my life. Please don't F up my business. Don't get into an accident, right? And now all of your kind of risk is on somebody else. On a trucking school, you're controlling a lot of that liability because everything is in a certain fixed area. The other cool thing is you're actually helping people change their lives for the better. And I have a saying that I learned from my father, and he learned from his mentor, which is if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want every single time. So when you're just driving a truck from point A to point B, yeah, you're helping people too. You're helping the shipper, you're helping the broker, you're helping the end consumer get the products as well, and that definitely gets rewarded. But if you really want to get rewarded financially, then you really have to help out thousands of people change their lives and make more money, and that's by getting a CDL license. So we actually became a franchise about last year or so. And so far, we've actually sold 5 franchise locations, which is pretty cool. We got Gary, Indiana. We got Baltimore, Maryland. We got Dallas, Texas. We got Jackson, New Jersey. And we also got Portland, Oregon. I mean, we only got 5. I'm already starting to lose track. Imagine when we got 10, 20, 30. The first target is to get to 50 locations. And maybe you are somebody who has a trucking company and is kind of scaled out and wants to find more drivers, or maybe you have some extra land or some trucks laying around and you're not doing nothing with. We can actually turn that into a trucking school. We'll guide you through that entire process, and we have an irresistible offer for you. If you become a franchisee with us here and you follow our process, we're willing to guarantee that you make at least, that's right, at least $500,000 in sales in your very first year, or we'll pay your full franchise fee back. So if you want more information about that, give our franchising team a call at 888-525-3609. Again, 888-525-3609. So if you're not a franchisee, no big deal. Let's just go through the recap one more time. 1, watch your startup costs, making sure that your truck purchase $40,000 to $60,000. 2, make sure that you're putting the maintenance to the side, 17 cents per mile in a separate account. Do not touch it unless you're paying the mechanic or for parts, right? 3, make sure you get good at negotiating with brokers and make sure that you're understanding the business side of trucking, not just the driving side, because you're a business person now. And then number 4, once you start scaling to multiple trucks and you get more and more drivers underneath your belt, you're going to need a nice, consistent way to keep getting drivers, and starting up your very own truck driving school might be the best option for you. So if you want more information about that last topic, definitely give us a call, 888-525-3609. If you want information about getting a CDL license in general, or us helping you start up your own company, whatever it is, just check out our website, fill out the forms on there, and that's going to be cdldrivingacademy.com. Again, cdldrivingacademy.com. You have all the information there. Hope this helped you out, and I hope that you make millions of dollars if that's what you're after, or just change your life forever. Thanks, and I'll see you soon. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel. It's really going to help us out. Click on that button. And if you want to continue yourself on your road to freedom, here's more videos to watch. There's endless amounts. Hopefully we get to see each other one day very soon. Thanks.